Okay, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to cover a story that has been developing for decades, but really ramping up in recent years. Essentially, wild pig populations have been expanding across Canada, and they have been firmly established in the Prairie Provinces for many years. They rapidly reproduce, and they have a tremendous environmental impact. I remember first learning about this about 8 or 9 years ago. The University of Saskatchewan was doing extensive research on this issue, and it was actually in Saskatchewan where I first ate wild boar, and it was very good. I grew up reading those Asterix and Obelix comics. Those stories involved characters vigorously chowing down on roasted wild boar, and those books always made it look like the most delicious food in the world. And it seems like many people are not aware that these pigs are rapidly expanding across Canada. They are not native to North America, and they have a huge impact on their surroundings. Of course, domestic pigs have been raised in North America for centuries. And then starting in the 1980s and 90s, Eurasian wild boar were imported to Canada for specialized meat markets and private hunting reserves. Starting in the 2000s, the Canadian pork market went into significant decline, and many wild boar were purposely released into the wild. And of course, some escaped, as did many domestic pigs. These wild boar interbred with domestic pigs, and they produced hybrids that, over time, adapted remarkably well to Canadian climates. These hybrids are often dubbed super pigs, combining traits like cold tolerance, sharp tusks, muscular bodies, and high rates of fertility. The pig's adaptation to the cold Canadian climates was a bit of a surprise to some. Wild pig populations in the US are predominantly based in the warmer southern states, and they haven't been able to thrive as well in the colder northern states. However, up in the Great White North, these feral swine are absolutely flourishing. According to a 2019 research report at the University of Saskatchewan, these hybrid super pigs have rapidly multiplied and spread, making them the most prolific invasive mammal in Canada. By 2017, they had spread exponentially across the country, from BC to Ontario and Quebec, with the majority in the south-central portion of Saskatchewan. Their territory increased by 88,000 square kilometers per year on average over the last decade. Research shows that the wild pigs are firmly established in Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba, with scattered populations in BC, Ontario, and Quebec. Canada's Atlantic provinces and northern territories do not host wild pig populations, but there have been certain situations. For example, a group of escaped wild boar in the Yukon were hunted down and removed in the summer of 2018. Researchers showed that the territory of a male pig can be as large as 300 square kilometers in the summer. These pigs typically weigh between 120 and 250 pounds, and they have around 6 piglets per litter per year. They have adapted well to survive in Canada's freezing cold winters, and they live in these pigloos burrowed deep into the snow. The pigs reach sexual maturity in 4 to 8 months, and they can breed in any season. They are opportunistic omnivores, and they eat a wide variety of plants and animals. Everything from roots and nuts to insects, amphibians, reptiles, and even young livestock. They also eat various crops, and they can do significant damage to farmers' fields. Besides their potential damage on farms, they can also affect the general ecological landscape around them. The pigs' rooting, wallowing, trampling, and foraging behaviors can cause damage to wetlands, disturb soil, degrade water quality, and reduce biodiversity. They're also known to prey on native wildlife. Perhaps one of the most serious issues is that these wild pigs can carry or transmit various diseases. Among the biggest concerns is African swine fever, a disease that hasn't yet appeared in Canada, but could be devastating to the domestic pig industry if introduced. Wild pigs are hard to eradicate once established. They reproduce rapidly, quickly adapt to harsh climates, and are able to hide and escape quite easily. A sounder is a group of wild or feral pigs, and when members of a sounder are hunted, the other members of that group become much more stealthy and avoidant. Many wild pigs operate nocturnally to avoid human activity. In 2022, Canada launched a national strategy aimed at stopping the spread. This included tracking populations, deploying specialized trapping teams, and building extensive disease surveillance systems. In Alberta, wild boar populations are patchy and not spread across the entire province. The Alberta Wild Boar Control Program uses monitoring, disease surveillance, and coordinated trapping to limit their spread, while some municipalities have moved to completely ban wild boar farming. In Manitoba, since 2022, the province has run its Squeal on Pigs Manitoba program, backed by Manitoba Pork and both provincial and federal funding. This program combines surveillance, trapping, and public reporting systems to target problem populations. Saskatchewan has declared feral wild boar a regulated pest and operates its control program through the Saskatchewan Crop Insurance Corporation. Over the past several years, over 1,000 wild pigs in the province have been removed, and a licensing system now requires inspections and strict containment for wild boar farms, with a moratorium in place for new facilities. In Ontario, there have been no confirmed established populations, and the province has focused on prevention. Ontario has banned wild pig hunting, which experts say can actually scatter wild pig groups and spread the problem. Ontario also prohibits keeping wild boar, and they employ public outreach campaigns and a system of trail cameras to deal with this issue. BC also has no established populations. The Wildlife Act in BC prohibits releasing pigs into the wild, and licensed hunters in that province are permitted to harvest feral pigs when encountered. In April of 2024, the first Canadian Wild Pig Summit was held in Brandon, Manitoba, and the second summit was held in April of this year. These summits brought experts together from across the country to coordinate a response to this issue. In August of 2025, a new national online platform called Wild Pigs Canada was launched by Animal Health Canada, along with Invasives Canada and other partners. Wild Pigs Canada was created to centralize resources such as maps, reporting tools, educational material, and updates. In September of this year, Animal Health Canada released the first nationwide collaborative report summarizing wild pig locations, verified uncontained sightings, and on-the-ground removal efforts across the provinces from 2021 to 2023. However, despite solid action being taken, researchers warn that wild pig expansion is real and ongoing. The data from the research project indicates that many sightings and interactions occur every year, and these wild pigs are still established and widespread across the Canadian prairies. And so if you're living in this area of Canada in particular, this issue is closer to home than you might think. Feral pigs are elusive, but not mythical. They have been repeatedly spotted around wetlands, farmland, river valleys, and even close to the edges of rural towns. Feral pigs are one of the most adaptable and destructive invasive mammals on the continent. What began as a small agricultural experiment in the 1980s has grown into a nationwide challenge. It will certainly be interesting to monitor this story as it develops in the future. And if anyone out there has had an encounter with a wild pig, or the destructive aftermath that they often leave behind, please share that in the comments. I'd love to hear about those experiences. And that's pretty much going to wrap this one up. I hope you found this one interesting and informative, and if you haven't already, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I upload a variety of Canadian content, and I typically post something new about once a week. And if you want to support my channel further, you can buy me a coffee, and there's a link to that below. Thank you for watching, I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Strange North channel.